This conference will now be recorded.
Here. You can go ahead and call the roll while I figure out how to get this screen saved correctly.
Councilmember Valentine. Present. Councilmember Weir.
Here.
Councilmember Harcourt.
Present.
Councilmember Hefner.
Here.
Councilmember McMinn
He's out of town.
and Councilmember Brooke.
Here.
We have a quorum. If you hold on just a second, like I said, I got the problem with my video to slide or share on GoToMeeting.
And we are on Facebook Live. Yeah. Those of you joining us with Facebook, the phone number to text with any comments or questions is 501-259-1273.
Well, it says they can see my screen and we'll go forward. We do have a quorum tonight. We have Facebook Live. First thing on the agenda tonight is the review and approval of the September 21st City Council meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve. We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next up is the financial reports. Entertain a motion to approve as presented. We have a motion. We have a second. We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up on the agenda is the Planning Commission report. Mr. Meadows said he may be late tonight and asked me to report on this. The commission met and they reviewed and approved the final plat for Buena Vista. It was contingency that Judge Urban was going to accept the street. It's in the county. And the homeowner is responsible for the operation and maintenance of the grinder pumps that will be installed on every house out there. The grinder pump policy or the grinder pump issue came up earlier, and this council approved it some time ago.
Make a motion to accept the report.
Also on the report, if you don't mind, hang on a second. Also on the report is a preliminary plot for Phase 1 Legacy Farms was reintroduced to the commission. They have redrawn Legacy 1. That's that PUD unit up there on the other side of Baldwin Street. They have redrawn it. It won't have the winding streets like it did, but it'll have some very unique things with it when it comes to council. It'll have alleyways and a potential for multi-use, or excuse me, multi-family dwellings, duplexes and quadplexes up there. It will be controlled by an HOA, homeowners association. There'll be alleyways, so you have your rear entrance houses. So you get into your garage from the backside. Out front on the main street, there'll be a cutout in your yard, so you could park a car out there if you wanted to. But this will eliminate any parking on the street. It'll be a very, very nice addition to the city. Once it goes through all the processes, there are some questions about sewage issues up there, and Baldwin Street itself is going to have to be addressed. But that's the change, and the preliminary plot was approved by the Planning Commission.
Is he still gonna have his business out there?
Yes, yes. And he's also having a place for a community, not a community, but a neighborhood, a pool, and possibly a neighborhood Frisbee golf course. But you got to belong to the HOA to get that or something. I don't know if individuals will be able to join or you have to live in a neighborhood. Don't know. And then after that, we had a meeting, a special meeting last Monday with the Planning Commission to start the process of ironing down a new master street plan. We'll work on a new master land use plan. This continues on as our process goes to rezone the city and give an updated new comprehensive plan. Working with Metro Plan on this. We're kind of the guinea pigs or beta testers, if you will, for Metro Plan Small City Committee on helping other small cities go through the process of master street plans and land use plans, and it can be very daunting. But we're one of the first ones, and we're helping them develop all this process. That's the Planning Commission report. Now I'd entertain a motion to accept as presented. We've had a motion to accept as presented. Got a second?
Second.
Any other further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. As we move forward to old business, I'd entertain a motion to put ordinance 2020-09 on second reading, and we'll open it for discussion. We have a motion to put ordinance 2020-09 on second reading. Have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Let's open it for discussion. What I'd like to do, first of all, the ordinance itself you have in front of you, I've highlighted an addition. Once this passes, if it passes this year, and I hope it does, I'd like, look right here, as a yellow mark. Even if it passes before the end of the year and could go into effect, I'd like to delay the effective date until January 1, 2021. This will allow our animal shelter and our police department to get the things they need to enforce the new things that'll be in this ordinance.
Will they be notifying everyone about this from the city so they can make sure their animals are?
There is a lot of change for those who keep care of their animals. It just,
Well, I don't have any. I'm just
right.
asking.
Hey, we'll publish it in Facebook and on, and our website, and the ordinance itself will be posted in the proper locations. And we'll probably make a notation at the bottom of the ordinance that says, come to City Hall, get a copy if you like. But certainly we can do that. But if you don't mind, and it shouldn't take too long, let's go line by line or page by page in this ordinance to make sure that the things that I identified in here have changed, from the last couple meetings, are what we want going forward to a possible third reading and adopting. So if you look at page 1, we had talked about removing the fence. That was done by motion and approved. Remove the language about the fence not being a material that requires electricity. There was a question brought up by Ms. Hefner about goats. Well, to begin with, we needed to identify what a goat was in our definition. So there's a definition for a goat. Interesting definition. Page 2, there's no changes other than paragraph changes because we added something. You keep going, the next change is page 5. There was a comment in there about Mr. Brook asking some questions, which should have been taken out, and I did. The next change is page 7, fostering procedures. And if you look at, I think you were also provided with attachment 3, which is a new attachment that had not been presented to this council prior. This new attachment mirrors the adoption process, except it just changes the name to fostering. And instead of adopting, people get permission to foster. And I'll wait till everybody gets caught up.
Is this pertaining to cats also?
Mhm. And I'll remind council that this is for second reading, so this can go for another month or however long as you continue to study it and make changes.
Do you want to say?
No, I'm just saying, even if we find things to discuss, we're not to the third reading or to the adoption phase yet. We'll move forward to page 8. Excuse me. I struck a line in there that talked about outdoor dog pens should be located 75 feet from any dwellings other than the person owning. The fact of the matter is, in some of these neighborhoods, in your backyard, you can't get 75 feet away from the next neighbors. So that kind of was not good, and we struck that out. Moving forward to page 11, I made a slight change on paragraph F4. I think it previously said that posting signs every 20 feet. We just went ahead and say 20-foot interval around a perimeter of fence. This concerns vicious dogs. Page 11. Okay. Move on to page 13, section 3, paragraph 2. There's some wordsmithing in that particular paragraph to make it more readable. Page 14, left out of the previous version was an adoption fee. New paragraph B, A and B shows the adoption fees. Dogs, $110, cats, $80. According to our animal shelter people in coordination with other surrounding areas, this is comparable. But the $110 is fully vaccinated, all the shots up to date, the whole 9 yards. Also added was a microchipping fee. We can insert microchips for $25, which is my understanding less expensive than taking a dog to the vet. Page 15. Although we told everybody they had to have their dog and cat license, we did not have a penalty for not doing so. So we added a penalty. It basically is, if you're convicted and found guilty of the misdemeanor, you pay twice as much to get the license. And the license is $5 for sterilized dogs or cats and $10 for unsterilized. Should the officer decide to write that citation and you're found guilty? Double the fine or double the amount. Second and subsequent will be up to the state district court judge. I'll make a comment here. Starting 1 January, we will no longer have a municipal court here. We will have a state district court. That's by state legislature. One thing it relieves us and other cities, we don't have to pay so much of his salary. So there's less money we got to expend next year in salary.
Is that just for the judge and attorney, or is that for-
Now that's the rub. There still is no good guidance on the chief clerk. Legislature needs to fix that too. But no, this is just for the judge himself or herself. Also on page 15, section 2, we eliminated the code enforcement officer as being one that issues a license. It should be animal control people only do that. So just a clarification. Page 16, section 3, keeping of hogs, goats, and sheep. We added a penalty that's comparable and same as other penalties in this ordinance. Which I opened the discussion up. There was some discussion about allowing for goats in the city limits. I have put in there that no goats in the city limits. Now, for those of you who might want to go to city limits, there's a way to do it. You just come to the city council get on the agenda and ask for a waiver. Mayor Brook remembered several years ago, a couple came here wanting a waiver to allow a horse in their yard, a Shetland pony basically. And I went out there and checked it. I was on city council at the time, and the acreage wasn't there and the vegetation wasn't there. So I reported that to the city council and they'd asked me to do that. And we denied it. Now they got pretty upset about it, but the fact is, that's how it should be. If you want to have a goat in your backyard and we don't allow it, come ask for a waiver. And if the council approves it with conditions or whatever, there you go. Well, we don't have to, but that's, to your question, Robin, that's the way to handle it. Yeah, if there's goats already out there now, they need to get permission, but they'll be grandfathered in. But we need to know about it. Yes.
Over on Spring Street.
Yeah, lean forward.
One of the citizens actually raised goats in his backyard and butchered them in the backyard.
Nah, that's not good. Yeah. Moving forward, page 17, this deals in running at large fowl, chickens, geese, and all that. Again, the penalty phase, if you allow your chickens or whatever to run at large, just to make that consistent. We move forward to page, that's all of it in the exhibit. I think this, and I think Mayor Brook, having been involved with the previous animal control regulations, ordinances that we've done, I think we've done a pretty good job on updating this to current standards and making it very applicable to everybody. So with that in mind, I open the floor for discussion. Hearing none, do we have any public discussion that we're aware of? Okay. This is for second reading, so we have a motion for put forward. So the motion is to approve the second reading. Okay, we have a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
And we have a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Brook,
Yes.
Ms. Valentine,
Yeah.
Mr. Weir,
Yes.
Mr. Harmore,
Yes.
Ms. Hefner,
Yes.
Ordinance 2020-09 has been approved for its second reading. We'll bring it up next month on its third reading, and then we can go from there to adopt it. Moving forward on our agenda, annually, all cities in the state have to approve the annual millage. It goes back to the county clerk, and that's how much taxes are collected on our behalf. The max we can collect on property taxes is the 5 mills, and we've always done that, and we've always put it in the general fund.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve to keep the annual millage rate at 5% in the general 5 mills, excuse me.
Second.
And we have a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Valentine,
Yes.
Mr. Weir,
Yes.
Mr. Harmore,
Yes.
Ms. Hefner,
Yes.
and Mr. Brook.
Yes.
Motion approved. Thank you very much. We'll get that off to the county clerk tomorrow. Next up on the agenda, new business. Again, the burning ordinance. I think the fire chief is out on the call more likely, but this is the ordinance we've had, and I've provided you copies of the previous ordinances. I think Ms. Hefner requested we do that from now on, and we did. This brings our burning ordinance up to date with state standards and with state laws that have been enacted since 1995. I have included a declaration of emergency in this particular ordinance, but having said that, if council does not want to go beyond first reading tonight, that is fine. But if when approved, I'd like the emergency declaration to be approved if possible. So I'll entertain a motion for ordinance 2020-11 to be put on its first reading, and we'll open for discussion.
Make a motion to put it on first reading.
We have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll open the floor for discussion.
Would you like me to read that title?
Oh, yes, please.
Ordinance 2020-11, an ordinance defining and limiting conditions for open burning within the city limits of Ward, Arkansas, providing for enforcement, providing for penalty, declaring an emergency, and for other purposes.
Very good. Thank you very much. Like I said,
Mayor,
yes,
I did have a question,
yes, sir.
and I may have missed it before the, I know that the compliance with in compliance with the state federal regulations, that includes the EPA regulations.
Yes, sir. They're included in the state regulations.
Was that it? Was that in there? Did I miss that?
Not in wording, I don't believe. You're talking about the EPA.
Well, because of pollution control. I noticed that it did identify like the burning of tires and.
Right.
And that is an EPA regulated environmental law.
Right. When working this out, we learned, oddly enough, there is a state law that says you can't write a ticket on somebody burning in their own yard. The ticket citation that we would issue is burning without a permit. You can't, we went up to state fire marshal and they were unaware of it. We may have to ask legislature to change that because I don't know the reason behind that. I believe the ACA covers what you're talking about, the Arkansas Code Annotated. So I think we're good.
I got, several acres in the timber tax. So I have that much wood, scrap wood. And there's times I need to pile this up and burn it.
And you can because that's yard waste.
So I need to get a permit.
And it's very easy. In the ordinance, yes, you need to get a permit. And the actuality is you've always had to get a permit, but nobody did.
What about Saturday and Sunday?
Yes, sir. All you have to do is email. There'll be an email address on the fire chief, or you call his office, which goes to his cell phone. And all he's going to do is give you a yes or no permit. It's not any piece of paper. Just reply back to the email, say yes, you have permit or permission. And basically it's permission. Yes, sir.
I recall when I built my house in 2006, every day I would call City Hall, we're having controlled burn today. Okay, that's fine.
Right. If you were having controlled burn of just lawn waste, if you were burning construction material, that's an entirely different thing, and you're not supposed to do that.
No, I'm not talking about just clearing.
Okay, clearing wood, yeah. And basically you were asking for permission and got a quasi permit, if you will.
That's probably also so you didn't waste the fire department's time and then coming out to try to put fire out.
Especially, and the county does this too. A lot of people have, large acreage and they burn off the acreage, and they'll call the county and say, I'm having a controlled burn out here. Otherwise, somebody's going to call in with large smoke.
And then you say we can't, every home that is built, let's say it's in the wintertime. People doing there get cold and they start a fire with some of that scrap wood that they're using to build the house.
Not legal.
Not legal, but it's done.
Not legal. And our fire chief has been very aggressive about subdivisions burning contractor waste, and that's what that is. Now, they had some trees that they cut down and burnt. Yeah. But contractor waste, and that's by state law. You can't burn it. Does it happen? Yes. But I can promise you our fire chief has had conversations, and I have too, with some of our contractors, developers.
What bothers me is I just bought a brand new burn barrel. Now I gotta get rid of it. You can put it on the side of the road and I guarantee you it'll be gone. I don't know what to do. Okay.
I've got people who put all this stuff in vacant lot and just leave it sitting there.
Well, that's an entirely different issue on its own. Has nothing to do with the burn.
Can they burn it there?
If it's vegetation, but if it's scrap, and then, we've responded at 2 o'clock in the morning and, they're burning tires or
Well,
trees,
it's not-
and underneath is a mattress.
Oh,
That's okay. This brings our fire burning ordinance up to date.
it's not me burning it. It's just, I know where the vacant lot beside me and they're piling all this stuff out there,
And they're not supposed to burn it.
but they're going to get the legal.
Well, that's a different issue on its own. If it's trash, no. Code enforcement needs to be
It's
on
not,
top of it.
it's boards and stuff like that.
Unsightly. And then code enforcement can talk to them about it. Any further discussion on this ordinance? Any public comment? Okay. Yeah. I'd entertain a motion to put the ordinance 2020-11 up for its first reading.
One question,
Yes, ma'am.
are we still gonna have the burn ban and speed limits?
Oh, absolutely. If the burn ban happens, then it says here, you don't burn at all.
Well, I was just reading humidity less than 30%.
And that's where the fire chief comes involved.
Right, I just wanted to make sure that it was gonna be someplace the public could see easily.
Yeah, we have signs when the
Well, I've seen
state or the county judge or the fire chief can issue a burn ban. We have signs we put on, and we put it on Facebook and all that kind of good stuff.
I have a question in the audience.
Sure. We have a question. Come on up.
Yeah.
What's the mic, and is that mic on? Please identify yourself, sir.
My name's Bob Adams. I live on Whippoorwill Lane there. My neighbor does a lot of burning.
Does he?
Yes. He's got 10 acres of grass there and he burns.
Is that in
And
city limits?
sometimes wood too.
Is that in the city limits?
Yes.
Okay. Under this, he's supposed to get permission to do that. He can burn vegetation. He can burn his grass too. But he needs permission and permit to do that.
Permit?
The permit is permission by either calling the fire chief or send him an email,
Okay.
which is supposed to be done all along, to tell you the truth.
Well, that I knew. Randy done told me what in order to burn in his house, what he had to do.
Correct.
Well, I already knew, but he just burns.
And to be quite honest, we have a lot of people who burn without calling and getting permission. It happens. We understand that. And then the fire chief will, or the fire department will get called out. We'll let them know that, and they can put it out or get a permit. And if they, it could be cited. We don't want to do that. But
There was one fire several years ago. He come close to burning down my farm.
yeah, my neighbor had a close call, almost burning my fence down one day too. It happens.
But my second question is, what are the limiting conditions of what you're going to bring up there?
On burning,
Yeah, I'm burning.
there's several things. First and foremost, if there's a burn ban on, you're not going to burn.
Right.
But there's things that only burn vegetation. You can't burn wood, especially treated wood. If you burn treated wood, you get the EPA in trouble with them, or the Clean Air Act. That regulates that. Burning under power lines, and when you ask for permission or permit from the fire chief, he's going to know what the wind speeds are going to be or the humidity level, and he'll make that determination. That's what he gets paid the big bucks for, to make those determinations.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for your comment.
I'd like to recap. We have a motion on the table from Ms. Valentine and a second by Mr. Harbord. We just need to
Okay,
make a vote.
that's for first reading?
Correct.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Weir,
Yes.
Councilmember Harbord,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
and Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
and Councilmember Valentine.
Yes.
Hearing no discussion of any problems, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules. We'll put ordinance number 220-11. Suspend the rules.
Motion.
We have a motion to suspend the rules. We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. With that, I'd entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-11.
So be it.
We have a motion.
Still need to suspend the rules.
We did that.
Second and third.
We did.
We have to vote.
We did a motion vote.
I vote so.
Vote, yeah. We have a motion to adopt. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second to adopt. Roll call for adoption.
Councilmember Harbord,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
and Councilmember Weir.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt ordinance 2020-11. I'd entertain a motion to invoke the emergency clause listed in the ordinance. What this does is, once approved, this ordinance becomes effective immediately.
Perhaps we need to let some of the older folks in the community know that it is illegal now, because I have some neighbors, that.
It's really always been illegal, to tell you the truth.
Okay. But they might get their hand slapped now.
Probably get a warning, verbal for a while. I mean, we're not going to go out tomorrow and I don't think, unless it's egregious, but that'll be up to the fire chief.
Going to put out any kind of information.
We again will on our social media and our website, and it'll be posted on our appropriate places for posting ordinances. But council has that option. If you don't invoke the emergency clause, that's fine. It'll go in effect 30 days later. But my contention on invoking the emergency clause is we have had several instances lately of people burning things that are improper to be burned. And this gives us-
Asking if you can get it out real quick, tell people they're not supposed to do.
We will get it out first thing tomorrow morning. If it's emergency clause, we'll get it out first thing tomorrow morning if the emergency clause is not approved. So get it out.
Like that motion.
Okay, so a motion to approve the emergency clause.
Second.
We have a second to approve the emergency clause. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
Councilmember Weir,
Yes.
and Councilmember Hardwick.
Yes.
Very good, council. Ordinance 2020-11 is approved with the emergency clause. Next on the agenda is a resolution. Entertain a motion to put 2020, resolution 2020-26 up for discussion and adoption.
Does this take care of Wilson Street?
We'll talk. Yes, but your answer, to answer your question, yes.
Okay.
The motion put this with resolution up.
Motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Okay, read title, please.
Resolution 2020-26, a resolution authorizing the mayor and or the city clerk of the city of Ward to enter into a contract to purchase one 25 horsepower pump for wastewater lift station.
I'll open the floor for discussion. Bruce is unavailable tonight, but, your ordinance passed, chief.
Did we just buy one here a couple months ago?
We had to buy them several times.
This is another one.
This is another one. The pump on that one, yes, over on Wilson, off the Moon Road lift station, correct? That one needs to be replaced. It burnt out. So we need to replace it. It's above my spending limit. And we are trying to buy all the same pumps at this time and get things so we can, if need be, we have two pumps in a hole. One goes down somewhere else. We can pull one out, put it over there without having any problems. So we're trying to make sure we buy the same thing each and every time.
What was the location on that?
Moon Road, the Moon down. And we had, of course, we had a pump sitting over there working to do its thing, and the suction hose broke. And then we have a spillage that we have to clean up and report to the state. Any further discussion on resolution 2020-26? Any public comment? Okay. Resolution 2020-26 has been brought before you and discussed. Roll call, please, for approval.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
Councilmember Weir,
Yes.
Councilmember Hardwick,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Resolution 2020-26 is approved, and we'll get that ordered tomorrow. Thank you very much, council. Next on the agenda is my report. Included with your mayor's report, first thing on is the Highway 367, 319 interchange. In November, it's supposed to go out for bid. I provided you with the project cost estimate, the latest one as of 10/2 on this. This has gone from, the Mayor Brooke, correct me if I'm wrong, this has gone from a $700,000 project 12 years ago to now a $2.8 million project.
Yes, that is.
Yes. It's crazy. Our city portion, is everybody in the same place? Okay. Our city portion is $505,568. But of that, the county has promised to pay $350,000 of it. So we'll come up with the rest, and we have that already set aside, so we're good. We're hoping that the bids will come in less. They never do, probably, but we're hoping they come in less anyway. So exactly what the cost of this will be still is unknown, but hopefully isn't too much more. But this will, once it's all said and done, it'll be great. It'll be a stoplight down there. You have turn lanes, eliminate the backup problem and the safety problem. That is a eighth worst intersection in the state because of close proximity to the road, to the interstate, or intersection, excuse me. So going forward,
Also, it was pretty fun here in the railroad crossing. It had, probably, in the middle of the bag, number on it, it was like two.
it's, once it's all said and done, it'll be good. But it's only been in the works for 11 years now, at least.
No sense getting it.
I'm glad you feel that way.
Going forward, starts 3, which is the sidewalk project. It's still waiting for MARDOC to allow us to reach the bid for that. The grant to remove 17 homes off of the vacuum system, still -1 easement that we're working on. The bond engineering has been out surveying the areas. Once we get that going, that should move pretty fast. We'll get that out for bid and move that along so we can get those 17 houses, plus possibly a couple extra houses on Brewer Street off the vacuum system. That's good. The drainage system, we're still waiting for FEMA to schedule us to have our training so we can administer those funds. The Willard and Geraldine vacuum project, we're still waiting. They got to approve the Lily Ann Court wastewater system before they'll approve our system, entertain it. But once that's approved and it works like we intend it, we're pulling, Brian, how many houses did we pull off? 64 more houses off the vacuum system. And Mr. Adams is shaking his head, yes. Keep working, right?
Gonna come sometime.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know that. The City Hall Regional Bike Trail is in Metro Plan for their decision. Board meets later on this month. I suspect that is not going to be approved as the project this time. It'll be approved to be into the system for a later date. But doors open, we got our foot in the door. Someday, of course, things can take a long time, as we know.
Mr. Brook knows that.
Yeah, we take a long time. So, but it's in the system. If it's not approved for this time, which I don't think it's going to be, I think the engineering study is going to be brought in. And we'll just move forward to the next year. Census 2020 is done. It was supposed to go to the end of the month, but the courts ruled that it was done Monday, period. That's it. So final figures, U.S. Census at 67%, Arkansas at 63.9, Ward at 72.4. We are one of the top 30 cities in a state of 500 cities with a census above 70%. That's good. Unfortunately, we're not the top one in the little 3 car wash contest. So no, ma'am. No. We agreed, and this was my idea too. I'm not sure why, but
I think you should wait because of the virus.
thanks anyway. So at some point in time, Mayor Kincaid and Mayor Chamberlain and I have to get together and we're going to wash, whichever you want to say.
Need to borrow a power washer?
Well, I have other ideas in my mind of how we're going to do that. It might involve the chief of the fire department. But anyway, we got to wash their fleet. I originally planned to wash the police chief and the fire chief's car, but somehow it came out that we're going to wash the fleet. So the good thing is Austin has the smallest fleet of all 3 of us. So at least we get to wash that one. It'll be fun. The municipal league is going to have people out there, and I suspect there'll be some media coverage on that. It's for good, not for a good cause per se, but my intention and our intention was to get people out and get counted for the census, because that is how we get turn back money for each and every city for the next 10 years. And according to the U.S. Census, with the people they sent out to go door to door to those who haven't sent their stuff in by themselves, the entire nation and Arkansas and Ward, everybody, we're at 99.9% counted. That's good. We'll see what our numbers come in, I think in February of next year. I may be wrong on that. And then after that, besides getting more money on turnbacks, the next council will have to approve redistricting. because the population has shifted. And we'll have to draw the ward zones again, which could cause some of you to be in a different ward come the next election. But we'll see what goes on. Sales tax continues to be up because of the internet sales tax, thank goodness. City portion is up 12.89% as compared to last year, and the city's tax average is up 24% over last year. September's tax was up 17, almost 18% over last September. The citywide cleanup was a huge success. We got 20.41 tons of waste collected from the citywide cleanup that was delayed from April to whatever, August, and then we finally did it in October. It did not cost us anything to get that waste dumped because it's wrote into their contract. They pay for that. In comparison, last year we paid $6,000.
And this was Zealous?
It was written in their contract. They absorbed the cost. So we just saved a lot of money right there. The CEDC emergency food box distribution happened the other day, and 150 50-pound boxes were distributed. Early voting started today. There are 2 city council seats up for election with contestants. There's federal and state seats up also. 3 issues that you have to work on. Issue number 1 is the continuation of the half-cent sales tax for highways, bridges. Not my position to tell people how to vote. I will never tell you how to vote. I will tell you to go vote because it's very important. But I will not tell you how to vote. But issue 1 is very important to this state, this city, and this county. If it fails, the city alone is going to lose $100,000 a year in revenue from that sales tax for the streets. Thank you. Again, I won't tell you to vote yes or no. I will just tell you that if it doesn't pass statewide, we're going to lose a lot. The $100,000 that we would lose annually, we'll have to make up somehow out of the general fund, which means we have less money in the general fund to take care of things. So give that due consideration. Issue 2 is term limits. I encourage everybody to study their issues and make your decisions and listen to the facts. Issue number 3 is legislative process. That deals on how things get brought to a referendum by the citizens, whether it's marijuana referendum or whatever the case may be. It's a good issue and something you need to study. Now, we did find out today there's a problem with the ward ballots. Found out early this afternoon that the county clerk's office had printed the ballots as if everybody voted by ward instead of at large. It was brought to their attention and they consulted with the state election people, and their fix is, and they've already got the paper ballots, they're bringing paper ballots to all the polling places in the county because you can vote anywhere during an early election. The problem is that if you live in Ward 3, you don't get to vote for any city council member because it won't show the Ward 1 or Ward 2 on Ward 3's ballot. Ward 1 doesn't see Ward 2, and Ward 2 doesn't see Ward. So you don't get to vote at large, to vote for all the city council members. Starting tomorrow, you will be able to do that because it's been brought to their attention. So I tell you to tell your constituents, if they voted today, or if they're listening on Facebook, if you voted today, early voting, please go back and vote. Go back to your place where you voted today. They will give you a paper ballot for those city council members that you did not get a chance to vote on today. So if you, excuse me, if you didn't see Ward 1's candidates, you'll have an opportunity to vote for one of them. And those of us going forward will also have the opportunity to vote for both wards that have contested races in it. They being the county clerk's office, thought that we voted by ward, and we never voted by ward, voted at large.
Perhaps they need to retrain.
Well, I called the county clerk and we had a discussion. And it's fixed now. Mistakes happen. The beauty of it, the good thing of this, is we found it on day 1. If we'd have found it on day 10, it'd have been a mess to clean up. Day 1, it's just a little mess.
Yeah, well, the absentee ballots.
Absentee ballots, they are working on that. They know they got to fix that too. So they are taking care of that too. They're going to take care of it. What they're going to do is send out that thing also to the absentee ballots. Anyway, it's not good, but there's a fix, and we've been identified, and they're working on it.
When is that position went for reelection?
Which one?
The one that made the mistake.
2 years.
County clerk.
2 years. 2 years. Any questions on that? Okay. The National Legal Service Line Warranty Program, if you remember several months ago, this council approved us to become partners with the National Legal Service Line Program and offer this to our citizens. It's not mandatory by no means. It's a private organization. Just let you know that through the process, I have a sample mailer. I provided you all with a sample mailer that will be going out to everyone. Should be in a homeowner's hands by November 4th, and then there'll be a follow-up 4 weeks later. And if you recall, this allows people to buy into this service line warranty, that if they have problems with their exterior sewer line or water line or interior also, they buy into a warranty program and they take care of it. Not mandatory, but anybody who is on ward water will be afforded this opportunity. I'll get a copy of that. My apologies. It's a sample mayor. I'll be happy to give you a copy or take a look at it at the end of the
I'll
meeting.
get one mailed to me November 4th, right?
Yes. That's what they're telling me.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
just a question on the service line warranty program.
Yes, sir.
We had, you were on the city council at the time, but we had an online study done. Is that still available for homeowners to look at?
I'm sure it is. Bruce is not here tonight. Brian is. Yeah, Brian is. Is that I study still available? We have that on, I'm sure we have that on file.
Yeah. Book, video.
Right.
You might have to play around with the software, play the video. but-
It was several years ago. That's true.
Software at the time. Yeah, but I got that. The reason I asked that question is it may be a good tool for homeowners to take a look at that. Because some areas of the city, especially the old part of the city, there's a lot of infiltration.
Right.
And they can identify during that online study. And I think that the fire chief even did some smoke tests some years ago. And that kind of confused people because they had smoke coming out of the vent pipes in the houses. And they didn't know what that was all about. But doing the INI study, it will let people know what condition their plumbing and wastewater side of the house is in. At that time, they were in that report.
I'm sure that's available. And I don't know this answer, but when that was done, did you send out notices to the residents of the INI if there were some issues with their lines? Okay. I mean, that'd be available if somebody wants to take a look at it. I'd love to do another INI study, but those are not cheap.
We didn't do a whole lot with that because of the funding.
Right.
We did fix some areas that needed attention that were city responsibility. But the INI study also showed homeowner responsibility.
What the INI study shows is breakage in the lines, especially wastewater. That during storms in particular, a lot of rain, you get a lot of water into the sewer system that then goes into the wastewater treatment plant, but then we have to process, and it's stormwater, not sewage. We have a couple old wastewater guys who will attest to that.
We've had new lines put into the sewer and the water main.
Probably a good idea. But this service line warranty program will be going out early part of next month. 2021 budget meeting is November 10th. We approved that last meeting, November 10th at 6 to 7. Please make plans to be there. I will be meeting with staff this week to go over their individual budget and talk to them about it. And on November 10th, we will present to the council in a working session, the 2021 budget. And we can discuss it then. And then, of course, in the November council meeting, we'll bring it up for approval.
Is that open to the public?
That is. All our meetings are open to the public.
Yes.
Understand? And that's all I have on the mayor's report. Do we have any public comment on non-agenda items? Somebody signed up? Mr. Bob, you know anything you want to talk about now? Good.
Oh, just, I get rid of that vacuum system.
Bob says get rid of the bank system. Yes, sir, we're working on it, as you know. Yes, ma'am.
Houses over East Second Street,
East Second Street.
still on the highway.
Oh, in the corner?
It's down close to that, building down there, you know. But,
I don't, okay, to answer your question, I don't know personally because I don't look at all the building permits.
okay.
That's code enforcement, they approve all those. But I know there was several, I think it was when you were still mayor, there was a not a subdivision, but a little plot drawing, well, they had to do a final plat of that area. There was going to be a shared driveway, but that's not going to happen now.
Okay, well, the lady that owns some land over there shouldn't want, no, they shouldn't want to sell their land.
Well, she can go up to City Hall and it's a matter of public record. They can get the name of whoever's building those houses.
Okay.
How are we coming along on getting the testing lab for the waste?
Well, we're not to there yet. We have, and Bruce in here, we have 2 bids or estimates from 2 different testing companies. I think it was not as much as we were anticipating. It's only like $2,500 a month. And so Bruce and I have not sat down and talked about it. But that may be something that isn't in this next year's budget, but may be contingent upon the following year's budget. Because first of all, we'd have to buy all wood, and hire somebody and all trained. We may use next year and pay Arco Analytical or one of the other companies to test our stuff for us while we work that out and look at the numbers. But it's something we haven't made a definitive decision on.
I thought that was one of the fast track.
It kind of was when we thought it was going to be very expensive, and it's expensive, but it's not, over market. But well, and we thought it was going to be very expensive, $60,000 or so a year, upwards to do that. And then I know that Bruce had gotten some quotes from companies on lab equipment. He's gone back and forth because they sent him the wrong stuff, the wrong quotes, and not the material that he needs. Any other questions?
I was curious about the gas station, the old one across from the donut shop they've cleaned up since then.
Yeah.
I was told something about EPA. Who owns that? And do you know anything about going on?
Well, I do know, and that's still owned by Troutman's. That old site, yeah, they own that. There was some soil testing some years ago, and there was some fuel that was found in the soil from the previous tanks that were there, but apparently not enough for a cleanup. I have noticed that they are over there cleaning up. And I'll be honest, I've been meaning to ask code enforcement what's going on, and I just haven't done that.
I just think it would be awesome to a landmark if the city had it and fixed it back up and used it like a food truck stop. That's just a thought.
Well, good thought. Good thought, but
Try to get money in here.
I appreciate it. I do know that the Chamber of Commerce is working on some of that too, to bring food trucks in.
So what?
Chamber of Commerce is working about that too, to bring food trucks in onto their property, once a month or once a quarter, something like that.
Well, I know in Little Rock, they have a old gas station.
Oh, sure.
Set up. And the food trucks are on the outside, but you go on the inside too.
A lot of things are possible. You can buy the property and do that.
I just bought 45 acres up in Yellville.
Okay. Anything else we need to discuss that's not on the agenda? I'm just open for, don't want to do that. All right. Announcements, like I said, voting is starting.
Christmas parade, when's that gonna be?
Well, let me get to that. Community council or community COVID testing in Lonoke County, October 20th from 3 to 7. Next planning commission meeting is the 26th at 7. City Halloween hours, we've going to allow trick or treating. It's up to the individual if they want to go trick or treating with their kids. It's also up to individuals if they want to open their door and give candy to kids. It's not the city's call. We say if you want to go trick or treating, try to go between these hours. Now, having said that, we are going to have a drive-through trick or treat out at the city park that night. And you just drive through, people stay in their car, hand them candy with gloves on. Again, if it's up to individuals, they want to come out and do that. As we move forward with COVID-19 restrictions, we also have to learn better ways to do things so life gets back to somewhat normal. And so that's just one of them. Election day 2020 is November 3rd. Don't forget the budget meeting. Next city council meeting is November 16th. And there'll be a drive-through citywide Thanksgiving feed. Cornerstone Church normally does it inside the dining facility at City Hall. This year, they're going to be a drive-through. You pull up in front of City Hall and they'll hand you food.
Plenty turkey and beans. Didn't declare the hand, but it's not necessarily the hand.
Okay. Okay, and to answer your question about a Christmas parade, we're in talks with, the Christmas parade by resolution last year or year before was made the Chamber of Commerce's responsibility. Beautiful thing they did last year out in front of Grace Community. It was great. Everybody's out there. Probably not going to do it this year that way. We are talking about maybe doing a parade type around the neighborhoods with a short number of decorated vehicles and Santa Claus that wave at the kids as you go through the neighborhood. Not have people gather into a big area, even with masks. It's just not a good idea. But we're talking about mapping out an area, kind of like the teachers did. Well, the teachers went through the neighborhoods and the kids waved at them, saw their teachers. Kind of the same concept. We'll take vehicles and volunteers and we'll go through, snake through the neighborhoods. And
That's a better idea.
well, I think it's a decent idea. Chamber tabled that to the November meeting, so we'll come out with that information after that. But I think that's the way they are leaning.
Well, I know my daughter's very upset because she's in band and her favorite thing is to do parades. And she hadn't got to do one. So.
I know this, and we all agree. This is just.
That would make a really long one.
It would, but I'm sure the kids would not want to walk the number of miles it would take to go through town. And I'm not sure the school would allow that anyway. So, and that's all the announcements I have. That's all we have on the agenda. I would entertain a motion to dismiss.
So be it.
Okay, we have a motion. That was
Second.
hesitant on. Anyway, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Every-
Motion carried. Meeting is dismissed. Thank you very much, council.